Hello, I want to welcome you back to the podcast, How to Play the Game of College. Super excited about my guest today. Each week, if you've been listening, and hopefully you have subscribed, you like the channel, you're sharing these videos, you're coming. But today we have a really special guest in the house. I'm super excited to have her. I want to welcome Dr. Tiffany Bellafant Steward to the show. Welcome.
Hi.
Yeah. So I want you to we're going to jump right in it. Dr. Stewart is the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Enrollment and Retention at Tennessee Board of Regents. But just outside of her title, I love for students to really hear like how we all got to who we are today. And so if you could take us down memory lane, sound like a song, Dr. Stewart. Take us down memory lane and just really help students to navigate how you got to, where you were from to now, if you can.
Yeah, so I just like to start off by saying I'm a native Tennessean. And I'm from a small town in Tennessee called Columbia, Tennessee. And I was just a good student. I would say I went to high school. I typically did what I was supposed to do. I didn't want heat from my parents. So did what I was supposed to do, excelled academically, got involved in things, but I was a first generation student, college student. And so I had to find or seek advice from people who were not in my home. Very different than it is for a lot of students who have parents or someone directly in their family or immediate family that have gone to college. But luckily, I had an opportunity to intern with Inroads, and I had opportunity to get some professional development, some college planning, and lots of other kind of things to prepare me for the workforce. But it also helped me prepare for college too, because we were doing that simultaneously. And so I had a chance to work with Derek Young, who was just a phenomenal mentor for many of us high school juniors and seniors during that time in the Middle Tennessee region. And so from there, I, started just doing the college process, like just what I heard other people doing. I'm a listener and observer. So I'm going to always find the smartest person in the room, and I'm seeing what those people are doing. I'm like, who are they doing? They're going to college business. Let me find some. Let me do this. So I recall going to just a college fair in our local community college, and I was walking around talking to recruiters, and I had a friend said, oh, I really want to go to University of Memphis. At that time, I was thinking of some other institutions. And so talked to that recruiter, and, they ask you, what's your GPA? What's your ACT? They're right. And that recruiter said, hey, you qualify for a scholarship. And
oh, wow.
Really? And he said, yes. He said, I just need you to apply to Memphis, send your transcripts and your ACT scores. I said, okay. So I did that, and he told me the truth. I got a letter that I had been admitted and I'd gotten a scholarship. And so I said, wow, this is crazy. So he said, hey, I want you to come for this visit to campus. And me and about 3 of my friends, we hopped into one of their cars and went to Memphis. And it was a minority student visit.
Okay.
And so went there, and we were on campus. We stayed in the dorms with some students. And we learned all about University of Memphis. And it was life-altering for me.
Wow. Okay.
Just to be in an environment with that many high school students, many of whom look like me. I could relate in terms of race, being Black students, and just hearing their success stories of the current students, but also just the high school students. And so I said, I definitely want to go there. And so it rose to the top of my list immediately. So from there, I just followed the process. I remember getting another scholarship offer probably a week before I was supposed to go, and all of us changed my mind and went to Florida.
And it was to another school?
It was to another HBCU in Florida, and I almost went. Well, I had registered in Memphis. I'd done everything. Their onboarding process was exceptional. So at that point, I said, well, I'm not going to go to this other school. I'm going to stay on the path that I've already started. And then I went to Memphis. So went there. I was determined to finish in 4 years. I had a scholarship for 4 years. So I did what I needed to do to complete that degree. And then after graduating, I got into higher ed. I immediately started working at the University of Memphis, doing graduate study as well, and then became a permanent employee within a year. So that's where I started my journey, and had some really good mentors at that institution. And I remember as I was departing there, because I always say that Memphis is my second hometown. I always tell people that. And I left there because I felt like I needed to challenge myself more. And I recall the VP of Student Affairs saying, look, these are things you need to do when you go on to your next position. So I moved to Kentucky, worked in higher ed a little bit while I was there, and just I really found myself. I was challenged because I wasn't at home anymore. Like left home, but I did know I loved the work. And so just worked in the field for a while, left, came back to Tennessee, worked at community college for a little bit, and then went on to work for HBCU for about 12 years. I really enjoyed that experience and working with those students. And then as life goes, every journey ends. You're going to start, you're going to end journeys.
Right.
So for me, I transitioned over to the Tennessee Board of Regents to do more system level work with policy and supporting community colleges. And as I was there, completed my doctorate. So it's been a fun journey. I always tell people I feel like I never left college.
Yeah.
I didn't officially leave until 2020 when I went to Tennessee Board of Regents.
All right. Well, you share some great knowledge. I'm taking notes. I of course, I feel like I know a lot about you, but I'm like, oh, I didn't know this. I didn't know this. And so I think it's so important when we talk to students and even parents, to sometimes just kind of share like our journey to like how we got to the job we got to or where we are in life now. So again, you unloaded so much in that first question. And I really like how you talked about, the college fit, which again, students, if you're tuning in, every Monday, I'm talking about the different types of institution. I guess the question for you next would be, if students are looking for the right college fit, I hear you talked about going on a college visit and, kind of just ending up in Memphis with a scholarship, which was great. But for the student who just has no clue, right? So many different options out there now. What advice would you give that student and parents to help them decide on the right college for them?
Yes. So I think there are an abundance of options, and I think many of those have been there a long time. I think what's different now than from when I went to college in the mid 90s, we didn't have like all this social media, internet. I mean, you could learn so much about a college and not even step foot on that college. I think you get a good feel, even just if you get on TikTok and you search to see what students are posting.
I've been saying you may see the president doing a dance on TikTok.
Right. You get so many perspectives of what the college experience is at those institutions. And so I think if you really want to see if a college is a good fit, you have an abundance of resources that do not require you to do a campus tour. So I want to say that. So I think it's important to really identify, what your wants are versus your desires. Everybody may want something different in our experience. And working at different types of institutions, I've learned that some people want to get in and get out. They want to get a credential really quickly in the workforce. Then you have students who want the traditional college experience. They want to join a fraternity. They want to join a sorority. They want to be involved in student government association. So just a more traditional experience. They may want to live on campus. So I think you really need to think about like, what are the things that you want from your experience, whatever that is. And there's no right or wrong answer to that. So if you want to stay at home and work and get a credential or a degree, you can do that. There's nothing with that. So I think you need to first say, what is it I really want? The other thing I think you need to look at a couple things within that, other than, because sometimes I know high school students, you just want to have fun. Like you want to have a good time, you want to meet some cool people. But some other things to kind of consider, I think looking at affordability, I think that it's critical. If you talk to people older than you, probably my generation, and if you're paying attention to anything right now in the media about student loans and people's student loans being forgiven and things like that, I think that brings up the question of affordability.
Right.
And so you really need to look at how much does it cost to attend that institution? That information is readily available to students. It's required to be posted on the institution's website. So that has to be, what does it cost to go there? And so look at everything though, look at the tuition and fee costs. If you plan on living on campus, the housing, the meal plans, because many times meal plans require if you have to purchase books, anything like that. Consider all of that. And so that also will help you look at too, like where you go to school. Like, are you going to stay local? Are you going to stay within the state? Are you going to go out of state? So you need to look at the affordability, because what you don't want to do is select a school and then within the first year, you can't pay the tuition the second semester or the second year, right? Because that's going to definitely deter you from reaching your goals, right? Or you're going to have to pivot or change.
Right.
So I think affordability is key. Make sure you can afford it. And within that, looking at things like financial aid packages. Is there state aid? Will I qualify for grants? Of course, the last option is always loans. And then also, like, how many scholarships do you think you might qualify for and you could apply for? So, and then your parents may be contributing or you may be contributing. So look at the affordability. Second thing, academic programs. I know gone are the days where you go to college and you find yourself in terms of things. It's just it costs way too much. You have to at least have a couple of things you're really interested in. So when I say a couple, I mean like you need to be under 3, like 1 or 2. So I either want to be an engineer or I want to, be a marketing. Whatever. Kind of just you need to really have an idea of that. There are lots of resources in high schools to help students kind of hone into that. You don't have to be specific exactly to the career, but be in the general idea. Do I like STEM kinds of things? So I may want to do biology. I might want to do med school. Just have some clear pictures of paths you want to take. You want to make sure those institutions have academic pathways that are in those programs, right? And you want to make sure that people who graduate in those degrees are employed.
Right. I'm going to say underline that.
Right. They are getting jobs. If they're not getting jobs, then that is not where you want to go.
So true. So true.
That's with you. If it's somewhere you really want to go, and find a degree program that you like, that people do well in at that institution. That's critical. You do not want to waste time.
And I was going to say that, again, for a student who might, or parent that, they're looking at school, like you said, the key thing is, hey, begin with the end in mind, if I want to be a doctor or whatever, engineering. But I know you mentioned something really key is like, hey, do people actually land a job, from their particular institution, their particular major? How would a student go by finding that information out?
Yes. So most of the career services departments at the school do surveys of their most recent graduates. So they should have that information. They should be reporting that. The other place you can find it is the alumni programs office also tracks that kind of information. If you're able to find it online, that would be my top question to a recruiter at that.
Right. Yes. I agree.
So a question, you don't want to waste your time and money. You can't get a job at the end of your college experience.
So true. Man, Dr. Stewart, you dropping so many gems early. I'm taking notes. And I like how you said about the finance piece. I feel like you read my book. I feel like I got that somewhere in my book, and you're pulling it out. And so, so I actually Dr. Stewart, I actually even include a chart where students and their parents can, like you said, put their financial aid package down, the cost of tuition, books. Because a lot of times, we talk to students, they say, I got a full scholarship. And I'm like, what does full mean? Is it just tuition? Is it including, room and board? Is it, like you said, meal plan? And so really asking those questions are so key when you're talking to recruiters or going on campus visits. Another thing, look, I'm going out for your questions, Dr. Stewart, because you're saying so many great things. Mentorship. again, I mentioned I got a chapter that's dedicated to mentorship because I know what it has meant to me in my life through college, getting to college, through college, and now even in career. And I know you mentioned earlier about mentorship in your life and even in your professional life, where it's a mentor like, hey, you need to do this, this, and that when you get to the next job in order to get to the next level. Can you talk to a student who, a lot of times we have a song that says nobody needs nobody. And and a lot of times students, I see them by themselves. They're trying to navigate college life by themselves. How important is it for a student to really identify a mentor and really do so early?
Yeah, sure. I think when I think about that song, I just want to point out, like, since you brought it up, I think it sounds good to be like, I don't need anybody.
Right.
Figure everything out. I'm gonna be strong. I'm gonna get through something. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you really
Yeah.
don't. Like, you really don't. Save that for something else in your
Right.
life. This is not the
Right.
thing. Trust me.
No, true.
Making it more difficult than it has to be. And I think one of the things I just want to share about mentoring is, it's a recognized high impact practice in post-secondary education. So that's critical to know. Like, students succeed in college who have mentors. I mean, either they have them, either being a mentor or having being a mentor or being a mentee. It's considered a high impact practice. So I think that's the first thing to know. I think you need to look at different types of mentors. As a high school student, your goal right now is getting to college, or into the workforce, whatever that is. And so you need mentors that are going to help you get there. There's people at your school that can help. There are people probably in your community, whether that's at church, if you play sports, there may be a coach. It could be your mom's friend, you need to make those connections. The other thing is, as high school students, sometimes it's intimidating to approach a older, I'm saying more seasoned person. A seasoned person.
Well, go with that. Right.
And say, hey, can you help me with this? But the thing is, people want to help you. If they've been successful, it's kind of like a thing you're taught. If you're taught well, you go back and help others. So you reach back and you pull others along because someone did the same for you.
So true.
Did it to do that. So I think find different types of mentors. You may need a career mentor. You may need a mentor to help you through navigating college. You may need, and not only just adults, but also peers. I can tell you from my own experience. When I said I watched people, hey, they were my mentor. They were my peer mentors. My best friends in college, they are the ones who, that's how I learned my time management and study skills, because they would say, hey, from this time to this time is when I study. And I said, well, that's when I study.
Right.
I didn't know that, but they were my mentors. Or when they said, I remember my first semester of college, and I got a phone call from the business office, and man, I was like we had voicemail, we didn't have. So I was in that call. I was like, why do I owe these people some money? I had and I said, come on, Tim, you need to talk to these people. So I went up there, and they said, hey, we just been reaching out to you because you have a $1,500 refund check. I said, wow.
Oh.
And so I said, I've been avoiding these people for 2 years.
Yeah, and they're trying to give you money.
Right, and I'm on my $100, my, or whatever. And I said, God, I don't even have to work this semester. So, I just didn't understand that, the whole situation with a bill and what a scholarship covered, what it didn't, what grants covered, what it didn't. I just didn't understand that. And I think, had I just asked somebody, I would have known that the first week of school. I didn't went ahead and be in the school. I would have just known that. And I probably would have been, eating the dollar burgers for trying to say how I'm gonna stretch my money,
Right.
So
true.
I think mentors can help you navigate. It's just someone to give you some guidance, but also someone to answer questions when you just don't know the answer. So my advice is have a couple mentors if you need them, meet with them regularly. But the one thing I want to say is always show gratitude and appreciation for your mentors.
So true.
You can attract more bees with honey
Right.
Always remember that. And when I say that, it's just saying, let people know you appreciate what they're doing
Mhm.
for you. It doesn't mean you got to buy them something. It
Right.
just means dropping them a note to say thank you
Yeah.
and letting them know, hey, I appreciate you taking these 5 minutes to answer this question. They'll continue to pour into you when they know you really value what they're doing for you.
Man, you just said something right there. It goes two ways. I think a lot of times we have mentors, we only sometimes look for them to pour into us, and they're pouring, they're pouring, they're pouring. But like you said, sometimes just like stopping to say thank you, thank you, thank you for taking the time. But a lot of times mentors, I know mine are super busy, right? And so, a lot of times just taking their time to say thank you, because at the end of the day, they did not have to do what they're doing. And so that's a huge wealth of knowledge you just put out there, Dr. Stewart. Okay, so we're almost towards the end. Hey, we're having such a good time. We need a part two. We need a part two. So one thing, I love how you mentioned you have worked at so many different types of institution, and in your current role, you're kind of like over a system of institutions with community colleges, TCAS, and TVR. When we think about students who are successful, and I know your role deals a lot with retention and like students staying there and graduating, right? Can you identify maybe 2 or 3, quick tips that students that are preparing to go to college that they could kind of adapt and really helping them to be successful and really persist and graduate when they get there?
Yeah. So first of all, you need to stick with the academic plan. Most schools have a degree map, an academic pathway, whatever. If your major is journalism, you're going to have something that tells you what to take every semester.
Yeah.
What,
Okay.
what you need to focus on is what you need to do that first semester. So if it's 5 classes there, you go to class every day. You don't skip every single day. You do you do all your work. If you're struggling, you seek help from first talking to your faculty member. Most schools have tutoring services and other types of
And a lot of times it's free, right, Dr. Stewart?
yeah,
Yeah.
I tell people it ain't free. You pay
Right. So take advantage of it.
yeah, your tuition and fees
Yeah.
for it. So everybody says free. No, I paid for it. So that's a different
true.
kind of mentality, right?
Right.
That it's free. I got to go ask for help. No, I paid for it.
Right.
Get the help I paid for it.
Exactly.
So change that mentality. You're paying for it. You know what I'm saying? So you're entitled to that because it's paid for by your tuition and fees. So you force people to help you. You say,
Yeah. You are paying for it.
yeah, I need help. I need help. I can't fail. Period.
Mhm.
I need your help. But if you go to class, you do what you're supposed to do, you ask questions, you seek help, you should do fine academically. Stay on the path. Sometimes you may feel like, oh, these 5 classes are tough, it's hard, but still just persevere through that. Most terms are 15 weeks. Just get through the 15 weeks and pass the courses. Once you pass them, you can check those off the list.
Yeah.
Move
Yeah.
on to the next term. I always tell people it's so easy to do an academic program. It's laid out. It's simple if you just follow it. Of course, sometimes life happens. You have to make some adjustments. Talk to an advisor so that they can give you some guidance on what you need to do. I've dropped a class. I've withdrawn from a class before. I had to make some shifts. I know my struggle was Spanish, and so I always tell people,
Yeah.
I went to 3 community colleges to take Spanish. I went to one in my hometown, and I at that time Shelby State and
Yeah.
State Tech.
They take. Yeah.
And I transferred those classes back in, but
Yeah.
I still finished it for you.
It's all the part of the game of college, right?
Yeah, it's the game of college. Just figure out how to make it work for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to a mentor, talk to an advisor. They'll tell you those tricks in how to get through that and how to pass it. And the other thing, make sure all your credits. So if you've taken dual enrollment, you have AP, make sure all that stuff transferred. Make sure that's your responsibility. Make sure you're not placed in classes that you earn credit for, because you earn the credit. You shouldn't have to pay for it again to take it.
So true. Yeah.
So I always tell people that.
So true. Some really great information for students to follow as they, start their college careers. Thanks for sharing that. The last question is the value of college, right? Class of 24. I can't believe I'm about to say that. is coming up and they're watching these videos, class of 23, hopefully they're watching them. They're just getting to college. A lot of times we think, talk to students and they say, well, hey, especially our seniors now, high school seniors, I could just go work at the local store and make $30 an hour now. I could do overtime. I'm good. I don't have to go to college. What would you say to an individual who might be on that line? And it's a lot of our individuals these days that they look at the per hour job now that, hey, my pockets are good. I could just skip college. What would you say to those parents and students about why college?
Well, first, I always say, look at the data. I mean, I think the most notable data point, I know it's said a million times, but, with college degrees, they earn over $1 million than their counterparts that didn't earn a bachelor's degree. While I don't think necessarily a bachelor's degree may be the desires of all students, but I think you do need to invest in yourself, particularly if you're just a high school graduate. And I think you need to think about that. So if you want to go into the workforce, what's the harm in taking a year or two to get a credential that's going to ensure you earn the top pay, right?
Right.
And so I say, even if you're like, hey, I know I want to go into the workforce and I want to do it quickly, then, maybe look at a technical college or look at a community college that may have some, programs like AAS, Associate of Applied Science degrees that are going to get you into the workforce faster. You're going to see an initial increase because you have the credential, but over time, it's just like investing in stocks. You're going to pay this and then you got to sit on it, right? And then you got to let it marinate. And you keep putting money into your 401k or whatever that is. And then all of a sudden, it just exponentially grows. It's the same concept with getting a post-secondary credential. It's going to pay initially, it's going to have a payoff, but then over time, it's just going to continue to pay off, continue. And you can continue seeking out additional credential and degrees as well. So I would encourage you to invest in yourself. I think it's easier to do it when you're fresh out of high school, even though I know you're like, I've been in school 12 years. I'm tired. I don't want to do that. Trust me, your brain's fresh. You don't have as many commitments. And so you have a little bit more flexibility to be able to do it. And for those who do have like financial commitments, whether you have children or, whatever that may be, your family, you can still do it. I did a doctoral program with two children, and I was doing my work at night, 9 to 5. It was over some years. And so, you make the sacrifices you need to make. I am so grateful for my sleep now. I can't even finish this degree.
Right. And get to watch Netflix here and there, Right.
But it's a small short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain. So that is the value of it. The other thing is, I think the networking opportunities. I don't know if I would have met as many people as I've had and expanded my network had I not gone to college. And I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, I know not just people from where I went to school, but even beyond that, because everyone's connected in some kind of way. Just continue to meet and your network continues to expand. So I think it's just good to meet different kinds of people that are, who maybe you didn't grow up with, that aren't like you, who don't think like you. And that can help you later in your career as well, in getting positions and advancing as well.
So true. And I love how you say, a lot of times we think of only sometimes 4-year institutions when we talk about post-secondary. But like you said, there's so many different types of credentials, from technical, community colleges, you got certificates. I mean, there's just so many things. And so I love how you said, delayed gratification is a key skill to have. A lot of times I've been a victim of that. You want it now, but sometimes just waiting and, like you said, let it build up and you get more from it is so key. Dr. Steward, you dropped some major gems today. Thank you so much. I know parents and students are out there just taking so many notes and feel better prepared just from this interview alone. So again, I want to thank our students, our parents for tuning in to How to Play the Game of College podcast. Again, I want you to share this video. I want you to comment. Dr. Steward is going to go on a YouTube page. She's going to answer some of your comments. So make sure y'all comment under the video. We want to help you out. And of course, again, share the video with as many people as you know. Again, Dr. Stewart, thank you so much for being on here today.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Yes, yes. And again, every Wednesday, we're dropping these videos to help you to learn and really navigate how to play the game of college. So again, I will see you same time, same place. Thank you for joining us.